Good morning. Go ahead and begin to find your way to your mat. And coming to a comfortable seated position. And as you arrive here, go ahead and just allow your eyes to close. Allow your hands to rest, palms up on your knees. Feeling your seat deeply grounded to the earth. Go ahead and tuck that belly button up and in. And beginning to feel the length in your spine. Allowing the chin to drop just gently towards your chest. And your shoulders drop down away from your ears. From here, I want you to begin to take breaths in and out through your nose. Taking a few deep breaths here, drawing the air all the way into your belly. With each exhale, maybe giving a little squeeze, and really pushing all the air out. As we settle into our breath, go ahead and choose an intention for your day. And you're going to carry that intention with you in your mind throughout this class. And gently allowing your eyes to open. I'm going to take your fingers and interlace them all the way to the webbing. Pressing the palms forward, squeezing those elbows together, and then beginning to raise your hands up over your head. And breathing into your side bodies. Finding length. And releasing. Go ahead and switch the cross of your fingers. This one should feel a little awkward. Again, pressing those palms forward and raising up overhead. From here, see if you can draw your shoulders down away from your ears as you press up through the palms. And releasing. Inhaling, your arms up overhead, palms facing each other. Go ahead and drop that right hand to the mat and taking a side bend over to the right. And you want to find length in both sides. So press into that bottom hand to create a little extra length into the side you're bending into. And continuing to connect with your breath here. On your next inhale, coming up through center. Exhale over to the other side. On your next inhale, coming up through center. This time, exhale, forward fold. I'm going to start by kind of grabbing the mat with your fingers and kind of drawing your upper spine forward. So finding a lot of length in the spine here. Crown of the head kind of goes forward towards the front top corner of the room. And just gently gazing down. And on your next next exhale, beginning to release into this forward fold. So relaxing your head and neck, letting them bend towards the ground. Your next inhale, beginning to walk your hands over towards your right knee. And inhale to center. Exhale over the left knee. On your next inhale, coming back to center and pressing up. Go ahead and make sure you have your block close by. I'm going to do a pretty deep hip opener. So go ahead and start by taking your left leg on the mat in front of you, kind of parallel to your front body. And you can have the knee a little bit wider out. The closer into center, the closer you have your side leg to facing straight forward, the more intense the stretch is going to be. And then taking your top leg and beginning to place it parallel over. Eventually, you'll be working the foot all the way to sit on top. And then taking your block and placing it between the gap between your knee and ankle. Beautiful. We'll take a couple deep breaths, sitting straight up. And then beginning to walk your hands forward. And just breathing into the back of that hip there. I know it's a pretty intense stretch, but the hips is often where we carry a lot of our emotional baggage. So just kind of breathing into the tension there. With each exhale, see if you can find just a little bit more release, a little more space. And your next inhale, pressing up, gently removing the block, and beginning to set up for the other side. Once you've arrived, just take your first couple breaths with a nice straight spine. And maybe you're here today. Maybe it's already pretty deep and you don't feel like you need to bend forward. But if you feel like you can get a little extra stretch, go ahead and begin to walk those hands forward. In yoga, we use the breath to heal our bodies, to move our energy, to gain energy. So go ahead and keep connecting with those nice deep inhales and exhales through the nose. And on your next inhale, beginning to press up. And gently removing the block, but keep it close by. From here, we're going to make our way onto our back. And just to kind of release the hips, let's just take both knees in towards our chest and give them a little hug. Maybe rock a little bit back and forth, massaging the hips and lower back. And then releasing the soles of the feet to the mat. Go ahead and walk your heels in as close as you can to your buttocks. And placing your hands down beside your hips, palms down. You're gonna see if you can roll, like lift up and roll your shoulder blade under your back just a little bit. And then from here, we're gonna, actually, if you have a block, take a block and place it between your thighs. And then from here, we're gonna begin to press into our heels, pressing up into bridge pose. Continuing to squeeze those thighs into our blocks. And maybe from bridge, you can roll your shoulders under just a little bit more. Maybe you can touch your heels. Squeezing the glutes, pressing the thighs up towards the ceiling. Pressing deeply through the heels. Let's hold for 3 more breaths. One more breath, keep hugging that block. And on your next exhale, beginning to roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. Allowing your hips to come down last. You can just leave the block there for a second. I'm going to take this a couple more times. On your next inhale, beginning to roll back up. Squeezing those thighs, pressing into the heels. Continuing to press those hips up for a couple more breaths. On your next exhale, begin to roll down. Rest here for a couple breaths. I'm going to go 1 more time up into bridge. For this next bridge, when you roll your shoulders under, maybe this time you can clasp your hands behind your back. As you're ready, beginning to press into the feet and roll back up. 1 vertebra at a time. At the top, go ahead and roll those shoulders under. See if your hands can meet under your back. And from here, you can press the sides of your hands also deeply into the mat, giving your chest a little bit more opening, shining your heart up towards the sky. Continuing to squeeze that block, pressing in through the soles of your feet, squeezing your glutes. 1 more breath. And then beginning to roll down. And from the mat, go ahead and remove your block and squeeze your knees into your chest again. And then taking a moment to go ahead and make your way to your belly. Meet you there in a second. Again, if you have a block, keeping it close by. So go ahead and bring your forehead to the mat. And then grab your block and place it on your lower back across the long leg. Go ahead and begin by pressing the tops of your feet and your thighs into the mat. And then just with your palms, you're not actually going to hold the block, you're just going to press into the sides with your palms. Pressing into the block. On an inhale, you can begin to lift your shoulders and chest up, pressing your palms together. And seeing if you can lift that block up and off of your back. Breathe. And exhale, release. We'll rest for a second. We're going to do this a couple more times. Beginning to prepare for your next Shalabhasana or locust pose. Again, pressing the tops of your feet into the mat, pressing your thighs down, grabbing your block, and on an inhale, lifting your shoulders and chest up, drawing your fingertips towards the back of the room, and breathing. And exhale, release. We're just going to do that one more time. But for the last one, we're going to lift our legs up as well. So go ahead and start by squeezing your thighs in together, pressing the sides of your feet into one another. And go ahead and pressing your palms back into the sides of your block. On an inhale, lifting your chest and feet. And exhale, release. Put the block off to the side. And then bringing the palms of your hands right under your shoulders. You're going to press your hips up and back all the way into child's pose. On your next inhale, coming forward onto the hands and knees. And taking a moment to stack your joints. So knees under hips, wrists under shoulders, finding a nice neutral spine. And on your inhale, you can draw the crown of your head and tail up. And exhale, pressing into the hands as if you could push your spine out through your shoulder blades. And coming forward. Exhale back. Do this at the pace of your own breath for a few rounds. See if you can bring just a little bit more movement into your spine each round. And finding your way back to neutral spine. We're going to go ahead and play with a couple balancing poses today. Well, one for sure anyways. I'm going to start with crow. So go ahead and come into a squat. And if you have a block, you can have it close by as well. And you're going to place your hands shoulder distance apart. And then from here, you're going to begin to bend your elbows and place your knees in your armpits. And this may be where you stay today. Maybe you begin to balance your weight forward and lift your feet up off the mat. Play there just a couple times. And whenever you've had enough, you can go into child's and give a second or two to play. And as you're ready, just relaxing into child's pose. Reconnecting with your breath. And inhaling forward onto your hands and knees. You can always come into child's pose if you need a break. We're going to come into a few heated vinyasas. So tucking your toes, pressing your hips up and back into our first down dog of the day. Go ahead and keep your knees deeply bent at first, pressing into your palms, gently twisting your hands out as if you were opening a pickle jar, rolling your armpits in towards your ears, spreading across the shoulder blades, and then beginning to pedal out, maybe one heel at a time. Inhale, bending deeply into knees, gazing forward. Exhale, walking or floating your feet to your hands. Exhaling into a forward fold. You can keep your knees bent for this first one as deeply as you need to allow your belly to rest onto your upper thighs. And then go ahead and relax your head and neck. Shake your head yes. No. Just feel any tension anywhere along your spine. Just imagine it cascading down your back like a waterfall and leaving you out to your head onto the mat. Just leave all that stuff that no longer serves you right here on your mat. And go ahead and begin to straighten and bend into the legs. Go ahead and bring your hands into your hip creases, tuck your tailbone, and begin to roll up one vertebra at a time, allowing the head to come last. Inhale, draw your arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, up. And exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, hands on your shins, clap back. And exhale, place your hands on the mat and step back into high plank. Taking one inhale here at the top of high plank. You're going to squeeze your elbows in and exhale, knees, chest, chin, or straight down to chaturanga. On the mat, you can inhale into baby cobra, or straighten the arms all the way into up dog. Exhale, shifting hips back into down dog. On your next inhale, go ahead and draw that right heel up towards the sky. Exhale, bending the knees, stepping it through to your hands. Go ahead and shift that back heel onto the mat. And just take a peek at that front heel and the back step line up. Also take a peek down, make sure that your knees not flailing forward over your ankle. That's directly in line. From here, go ahead and windmill up into warrior two. We're just going to energetically press your feet apart. And then tucking your tailbone under, just feel it spreading across the hips there. And then just take a gaze down at your toe, make sure you can see your big toe. And from here, go ahead and take that right arm, place it right above the right knee, bring that left arm up over your ear. And just gazing gently forward in front of you. Maybe you begin to roll the shoulders open and take a gaze up under your armpit. And on your next inhale, coming back up into warrior two. And then exhale, wheeling the hands down to frame your front foot, spinning that back heel up. And stepping back. And down dog. And we'll go right into the other side, inhaling that left heel up towards the sky. Exhale, bending the knees, stepping through to the hands. Go ahead and spin that back heel down. Go ahead, just taking a peek, making sure everything is lined up. And on your next inhale, wheeling up into warrior two. Again, peeking out over that front knee, making sure you can see the big toe. If you can't, go ahead and just draw that knee back a little bit. You drop down maybe just a little bit lower for one more breath. And dropping that left elbow right above the left knee, swinging that right arm up alongside your ear. Everything stays really active, so pressing out through that back heel while you're reaching forward through the right fingertips. Maybe you begin to open the shoulders just a little bit, using up into the armpit. And inhale back into warrior two. Exhale, bringing that front foot, lifting the back heel up off the mat, and stepping back into down dog. And kind of resetting here. Rolling those armpits in towards your ears, shoulders spread out across your back. And inhale, bending the knees, gazing forward. Exhale, stepping or hopping your feet to your hands. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release down. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhaling up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, placing the hands, stepping or jumping back into high plank. Taking an inhale at the top of your plank here. And as you exhale, chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin. Inhale, baby cobra, or up dog. And exhale back into down dog. And reconnecting with that breath here. You can always take a child pose at any point. Inhaling the right leg up. Exhale, bending the knee and stepping it through. And this time, taking your block and placing it right on the inside of that right foot. Placing your left hand on the block. We're going to begin to twist and open. Maybe you just keep your right hand on your hip. Maybe you draw it up towards the sky. And as you exhale, releasing that hand back to the mat. Moving the block and then stepping back into down dog. Inhaling the left leg up. Exhale, bending the knee and stepping through to your hands. This time, go ahead and put that block right on the inside. Placing your right hand on the block. And beginning to twist open. Maybe you do your hand on the hip. Maybe straight up. And continuing to bend deeply into that knee, pressing out through the back heel. And go ahead and release that right hand to the mat, removing the block. We're going to step back into down dog, but go ahead and walk your feet so your big toes are touching. Take your knees nice and wide as the mat. And press your hips back into child's pose. Allowing your forehead to come to the mat. And just resetting here for a few breaths. And on your next inhale, bring that forward onto your hands and knees. Tucking those back toes under, pressing your hips up and back, letting the Vistabhasana, down dog. Inhaling that right leg up. Exhale, bending and stepping it through. Go ahead and bring that back heel to the mat. And we'll start by windmilling up into warrior two. But straight from here, we're going to go ahead and straighten that front leg. Shifting your left hips back and right side body forward. Go ahead and just from there, let your hand drop wherever it meets your leg. Pressing the back of that hand into your leg. Go ahead and lift that top arm up. And continue pressing into that hand to encourage your chest open towards the front of the room. Pressing strongly into both feet and lifting your knees, your kneecaps up towards your hips. So that will activate your thighs. On your next inhale, rising up, go ahead and grab your block. We're going to go into twisted triangle. So go ahead and bring your block with you, placing it, your left hand and the block right on the inside of your right foot. Beginning to shift your hips down towards the mat. And go ahead and bring that right hand to the right hip. You might stay here. You might continue to twist and begin to open that right hand up towards the sky. One more deep inhale. On your exhale, coming out of the twist, bending into your right knee, placing both hands onto the mat. Go ahead and twist that back heel up off the mat before stepping back into your down dog. One deep inhale here. One exhale out through the mouth. And inhaling that left foot up. Exhale, bending the knee, stepping through. Go ahead and shift that back heel to the mat. And windmill up into warrior two. Straightening into that front leg. Shifting your hips back and the left side body forward. Go ahead and allow that left hand to drop and hit the thigh wherever it does. And that right hand straight up towards the sky. Again, pressing into the back of that left hand to kind of help your chest open. Inhaling, coming up. And on your exhale, we're going to come back down into the reverse warrior. So beginning to shift your hips down towards the front of the mat. Taking your block, stemming your left hand right on the inside of your right foot. You might be here. You might continue to twist. That left hand comes up towards the sky. And exhale, bending into that front knee and releasing the hand to the mat. Both hands come to the mat, back heel swivels up. And go ahead and step back, big toes together, knees wide, hips back, child's pose. And just take a moment to feel your third eye pressed against the mat. Feeling our connection to the earth. Feeling a sense of gratitude and humility for this beautiful planet we get to live on. On your next inhale, coming back forward onto your hands and knees. Tucking those back toes under, pressing back into down dog. On your next inhale, bending the knees, gazing forward. With your exhale, Floating or walking your feet to your hands. Taking a second just to drop down into this forward fold. And with your next inhale, rising all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhaling up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, placing the hands and stepping or jumping back into high plank. Go ahead and take one deep inhale at the top of this plank. As you exhale, hugging your elbows into your sides, chaturanga. Straight into up dog. And exhale, back, down dog. Inhaling that right leg up. Exhale, bending and stepping it through. Just go ahead and stay crescent for this one, so keeping that back heel up. We're going to inhale, our front body straight up, reaching towards the sky. Exhale, opening the elbows. We'll take a few breaths here in crescent, really pressing into that front heel, up to the back heel, tucking that tailbone under, dropping the hips down, and raising the chest up towards the sky. Your next exhale, placing the hands back on the mat and stepping back into down dog. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, bending the knees, stepping it through. And then on your next inhale, slowly making your way up into crescent. And maybe take a bend in your elbows, really pressing that chest forward, that heart showing up towards the sky. Pressing into that front heel, out through the back heel. Again, tucking that tailbone. And breathing. One more deep inhale. On your exhale, placing the hands. And stepping back into down dog. Bending deeply into knees, inhaling, gazing forward. Exhale, floating or walking your feet to your hands. And next inhale, rising all the way up. And exhaling, hands to heart. Go ahead and grab your block. Using your block in between your thighs. Above the knees. And then go ahead and find a nice distance for your feet, about hip distance apart. See if you can make the instep of your feet very parallel to one another. And then lift the balls of your feet, spread your toes, and then press all 10 toes into the mat. From here, bring your arms up. And begin to sit your hips back, squeezing that block into chair pose. You might lift your toes up, but really shift your hips back and gaze down, make sure you can see your toes. And then from there, making sure that tailbone's tucked and beginning to lift that chest up. And then bringing your hands to prayer position. And you go ahead and take that left elbow and hook it over the right knee. And then just gaze down at your knees, make sure one's not flailing forward, try and keep it parallel. And press into your hands and begin to twist your chest open towards the side. You can gaze forward, you don't have to look up. And releasing that side, coming through center. Keep the right elbow onto the left knee. Pressing into your palms, and again, just double checking that one knee isn't coming forward. Just a couple more breaths here. And releasing, and releasing into a forward fold. Go ahead and release that block. And from here, you can heel toe your feet out very wide. About as wide as your wingspan. And you can have the feet parallel or the toes slightly pointed in, slightly pigeon-toed. And then just begin to release into this forward fold. Again, reconnected with that breath. We just did a lot of work. So begin to slow that breath down again. Release the head and neck. Maybe shake it yes and no. Releasing your shoulders. And then go ahead and bring that left hand right in the center of the mat, right beneath your face. And then we're going to begin to open up towards the right. So bringing that right hand into your hip. And you might stay here. You might bring that right hand all the way up towards the sky. And go ahead and release that right hand back to the mat. And replace that right hand where the left hand was, right in front of your face. Go ahead and bring that left hand to your hip and begin to twist the chest open. And then from there, maybe drawing that left hand up. Maybe keep it on your hip. And on your next exhale, releasing. And beginning to heel toe your feet back together. Let's go ahead and roll up. We'll meet at the top of the mat. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, flat back. And exhale, placing your hands, stepping or hopping back into high plank. One inhale at the top of the plank. And then a nice slow exhale through chaturanga, stopping just a few inches off the mat. And pressing back up. And exhale, chaturanga to a few inches above the mat. Inhale, rising back up. And one more time, let's take this at a count of 10 and we'll come all the way to the mat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhaling up into cobra. And exhale, hips back just into child's. Again, letting your forehead come to the mat. Maybe you press gently into your hands just to encourage your hips back a little bit further. And from here, we're just going to go ahead and make our way onto our backs. From your back, you're going to make that beautiful little triangle with your thumbs and pointer fingers. That triangle is going to sit right under your sacrum. So right at the base of your spine. Basically, it's framing your tailbone. Should feel really good. Once you find that spot, go ahead and lengthen your legs straight out in front of you, about 6 inches off the mat. And inhale the legs up towards the sky. Exhale down towards the mat. And inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. 2 more times. Exhale down. Inhaling up. And 1 more time. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. And release the soles of your feet to the mat. Pressing in, releasing your hands from under your back. And go ahead and just draw both knees in towards the chest, giving them a hug. And go ahead and roll from here up to seated. And we're gonna come into Navasana, or boat pose. So go ahead and start with your hands right behind your back. Leaning back, go ahead and bring your feet up. Knees can stay bent for this part. And then just drawing your chest up and like getting it straight at the back as you can. You might be right here. You might continue on and raise your hands up. Maybe you straighten your legs. Breathe. And exhale, bending the knees, bringing them in. And go ahead and drop your feet to the mat. All right. Go ahead and release back down to the mat. Just a couple more ab moves. All right, so from here, go ahead and take your hands behind your head, just making a nice gentle cradle. And again, bring your knees bent at a 90-degree angle up off the mat. And then we're going to go across with like opposite crunches. So go ahead and straighten the right leg and bring the left arm up and over, and then back down and switch and crunch, and switch and crunch. Exhale, switch and up. Just a few more times. Last one. And release all the way into the mat. Go ahead and make your way onto your left side. And you can bring your left elbow right under your shoulder. And then the palm on the mat. And then you might stack. We're going to come up into gate or side plank. You can stack your feet. You might take that top foot and kickstand it right in front. And from here, I'm just going to lift up. And really press into those hips. Press those hips as far up towards the ceiling as you can. We'll take a few dips. Dip your hips down towards the earth and back up. And down and up. And down and up. 2 more times. And releasing all the way onto the mat. Go ahead and come to the other side. Once you've got that elbow stacked under the shoulder, and your feet where you'd like them, go ahead and bring that left hand to your hip, and bring the hips up as high as you can. And drop, and up, drop, up, 3 more times. When you've completed that, go ahead and release onto the mat. Grab your strap and make your way all the way onto your back. And begin to wind down. Go ahead and take that left leg out long. Right foot comes up. Go ahead and take your strap, hook the ball with that right foot, and extend it straight. Start forward if you need to get the nice straight leg. Once you've found that straight leg, maybe you begin to pull the toes up towards your nose, just as far as you can before your knee starts to bend. And find that nice edge, the edge of the stretch. That's probably the edge of some pain. And that's where you want to be, just right at that edge. When you find that tight spot, I want you to really imagine being able to breathe your breath into that spot, into that point of tension. With your exhale, imagine being able to release some of that tension. Beginning to transfer both straps over to your right hand. You're going to take your left hand and your left hip crease, just to remind that hip to stay onto the mat. Go ahead and flex that bottom foot strongly, pressing that heel out forward. So both feet are flexed. Then beginning to drop that right leg out towards the right. Just until you feel the stretch and making sure your hips not coming up off the mat. If you need a deeper stretch, you might begin to choke up on that strap, bringing the toe towards your nose. And a next inhale, raising that foot up back through center, transferring both straps over into your left hand. From here, I like to pull just a little bit more on the outside of that strap, just to get a little flatter across the top of the foot. And then from there, you're going to begin to draw your right leg over towards the left. Still pressing that left foot onto the ground. Your hips aren't rolling over. You should feel a pretty deep stretch in your IT band here pretty quickly. If not, continue to pull that strap up so your toes are coming towards your nose. Yeah, and you can keep going over until you feel it. And inhaling up through center, bending your knee, releasing the strap. Go ahead and let that right leg come alongside your left. And just take a minute, see if you can feel any difference between the way the right and the left leg and hip rest on the mat. Just becoming aware of your body, aware of the subtle differences. And from there, go ahead and bend your left knee, hooking the left ball with your strap. And straightening into that leg. And finding that sweet spot on the other side here. You feel a nice deep opening across the back of that leg. Right leg pressing against the mat. Right foot is flexed also. Pressing strongly out through both heels. Pretty much every pose in yoga is relaxed as it looks. It remains very active. You can relax in your belly and shoulders. Relax in the back of your neck, your jaw. Right now, all the activities coming from the legs. Relax around the eyes. And transferring both straps over into the left hand, beginning to open that left leg out towards the left. Maybe the right hand comes into the right hip crease. Just encouraging that right hip to stay on the mat. next inhale, coming up through center. Just leave both straps in the right hand. Maybe you pull on that left side, outside of the edge of the foot a little bit before beginning to drop that left foot over towards the right. And keep it nice and flexed. Bring those toes towards your nose. And continuing to connect with that breath here, breathing into the tight spots. Again, checking your jaw and eyebrows, making sure you're not holding onto the tension there, but actually releasing it out through your breath. And inhaling up through center, bending into that knee, releasing it. And allowing that left foot to come alongside the right. Go ahead and bring the soles of your feet to the mat. And keep the soles nice and wide to the outside edge of your mat. And you're just gonna drop the knees from one side. Inhaling up through the center, exhale, dropping both knees to the other side. We're just gonna do this a few times. Inhaling to center, exhale, dropping. Inhaling center, exhale, dropping. As we meet back at center, go ahead and draw the legs out long. And have them, I'll see them, a little bit away from each other. And then allowing your arms to fall out away from your body. Finding a nice, comfortable place for your head and neck. And just feeling nice and straight in the spine. So as we make our way down into Shavasana, the final resting pose, go ahead and begin to release the control over our breath. Just allowing it to return to its natural rhythm. Feeling your eyeballs relax, just floating like water in the socket. Feel your jaw relax. Maybe you take your bottom jaw back and forth a few times. Releasing any tension there. Your tongue to just rest gently on the top of your mouth. Feel your shoulders relax into the mat. Your forearms release. Your fingers and hands release. Feel your back body supported by the earth. Just allowing gravity to gently pull all your organs back towards the ground as they rest in your abdomen. Feel your hips and legs relax. Your calves and shins relax. And your toes and feet relax. Last few moments here, if you begin to find your mind wandering, go ahead and bring its attention back to your breath.
To bring awareness back into the body. Go ahead and begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. And as you're ready, bending your legs, bring the soles of your feet to the mat, making your way onto one side or the other for fetal position. As you're ready, gently beginning to push yourself back up to seated. And go ahead and bring that intention that you set at the beginning of class back into your mind now. So we're going to carry that intention with us out into the day, out into this happy Halloween. I'm going to close the class with a single Om. And feel free to join along if you'd like. Exhaling and inhaling.
Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.